These three that are leading this demo, Bruce, this is a fantastic demonstration of how the 911 GT1 developed in 3 years. So the car just, the two cars actually going through the screen at the moment, the 96 cars, which were the ones that really ended the McLaren F1 GTR's dominance of GT racing. The 97, of course, Mercedes arrived. There was a Mercedes, hopefully we'll see. And that's the second car, the black PlayStation car. That wasn't so successful. And then the 98 car, which I think is pretty much effectively almost like a Group C car, which of course won in 1998. Oh yes, the Mercedes is static behind us at the moment, so it may not be coming out.
Which is a big shame. Some people might not agree, but to me that was the best looking of all of the GT1 cars.
It is only a static display car. Our list.
Oh, I like the long-tailed McLaren, I must admit. But they're just all fantastic, aren't they? It was actually quite a brief moment after Group C died. GT racing was quite low at one point. You had F40s and McLarens in the BPR GT series, and then the manufacturers got interested for a couple of years. 97, 98 really was the zenith, and they effectively brought back Group C and budgets went up, and then as happens routinely, of course the manufacturers pull out. And you have to start again, which is something Stefan Rattel has worked very hard on with his GT3 class over the last decade.
Which has grown like absolute topsy, and now this year we're going to have so much growth in GT4 as well. But these cars were definitely on another plane. As someone said this morning, where's the Panos?
Yes, the Panos was pretty remarkable car too, wasn't it?
Yes,
it's the only common part between a 911 GT1 sort of race car, Evo race car, and the period 911 road car tail lights.
Yeah, possibly the door handles.
If that.
I think that was the difference between the McLaren F1 GTR and the first of the 911 GT1s. The McLaren was genuinely based on a road car that was designed as a road car, and the 911 GT1 wasn't really. It moved them from GTs into almost being sports prototypes, really.
One of the cars, obviously, one of the McLarens in West livery, so that's reminiscent of John Nielsen and Thomas Bashir. And Thomas told me a great story. He was one of the first McLaren F1 owners on the road, and he drove his every day. And so he was the first person to get it serviced. And they called him and said, there seems to be some mistake. It appears that every time you've been in the car, you've driven above 200 miles an hour. He goes, yes, that's why I bought it. And that's on his commute into Munich to the bank.
Well, because he was key, and Ray Bellman as well, of course, in persuading McLaren to go racing with the car in the first place, because that wasn't the intention when Gordon Murray designed it. It was supposed to be the ultimate road car, but it didn't take people too long to point out that it perhaps would be quite a good racing car. And then, so it's probably the last genuine road-based car to win Le Mans, and I can't see that changing anytime soon. Can you, Bruce?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, yes, you get periods of great change in sports car racing, and you always wonder which way it would have gone if a decision hadn't been made. But these came and these saved sports car racing, to my eyes. And their time was short, but they're very spectacular cars, and that was the thing. You looked at them, and as Marcus pointed out, not a lot of similarity with the road cars on which, apart from the McLaren, they were based, but great racing cars.
We've got 4 Porsches, 4 McLarens, a Ferrari in the mix here, and the Lotus, of course.
That's the 97 shape. The 96 shapes, the third and fourth cars, which came in towards the end of the 96 BPR GT series and moved the goalpost, really, having almost won Le Mans. They should probably have won Le Mans, beaten by the Yost Porsche Sports prototype that the Works decided not to run. Reinhold Yost ran instead and beat the Works team.
So they're letting them off one at a time, but how much will they group up around the circuit? We see these on some of these displays. Actually, Kevin, I'll sort of go back with you. Maybe the F1 GTR with the long tail is the best looking car. Certainly that livery does look fabulous.
It looked good in Schnitzer colours as well, actually.
Yeah.
Of course, they ran the Schnitzer as well as the Golf teams ran those cars.
I think the Langhecks are good milli coloured, aren't they?
Yeah, that's true.
Further Langheck to the Kurtzak.
In fact, the car that looks sort of least special is the Ferrari F40 in all of these, because that didn't have the level of sort of development that the others had.
Can't be too bad a pack of cars, can it, if you're saying the F40s are the most normal looking of the group.
I know, my head has been turned, I'm sorry.
It looks almost mundane, doesn't it? But, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so you look at that wonderful headshot, well done for catching that. The one does look really remarkably plain. I'm not talking about the livery, I'm just talking about the shape. When that landed though, Marcus, do you remember the reaction to the F40? Everyone was, my golly, this is a car that's taken us all to the next level. When I say us all, I mean people I knew, but not me.
Well, of course, it's actually an older design than any of these other cars. Even the original McLaren F1 was 92, 93, and I think the F40's been out for 5 or 6 years.
But it's still a fantastic car, isn't it? Yeah. And woefully practical. That's what we like about supercars.
I was going to say supercars, they shouldn't be practical, should they?
McLaren, dating back to Bruce McLaren, very poignant memories of him. Competed here, obviously, back in the early arrival from New Zealand. And, of course, ultimately lost his life here in testing, which was very sad, in June 1970. But the mark that carries his name, which he did so much to build and foster and make the reputation for, has done so much more in motorsport, doing the greatest of times at the moment. But it's happened before. There have been several-year runs of poor results. They bounced back, resilient, just as Bruce was. He was a fantastic engineer, a fantastic driver, leader, and inspirer of his teams. Double Can-Am champion and Le Mans winner. Great to see the name carried on.
Also quite a long time Motorsport columnist. His columns were fantastic.
Yeah.
Really entertaining, and that was very much something that shone through from people who worked for him. He wasn't the boss, he was part of the team. You know, he was shirt sleeves rolled up, get stuck in, get the job done. But those early days, I think it's hard to emphasise how primitive it was, the conditions they worked in at McLaren. When they first got a floor that wasn't made of mud, they were pretty chuffed.
Yeah, it was impressive. And of course, I was down at the Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park, the former Taupo race circuit, rebranded thanks to Amanda McLaren, Bruce's daughter, and the family's agreement. And it's a wonderful track. You've been there, Bruce. I've been there recently.
I really recommend all of the people who are here and watching anywhere around the world, try and plan yourself to go to different historic festivals about the place, because in midwinter to pop down to New Zealand or to Phillip Island or whatever, I think there's rather a lot to recommend that on the dog days of January and February.
Very much so, and it's a sight warmer by and large down there at this time of year.
But obviously by no accounts miss any event here at Goodwood. We don't.
The action on track here warms you up more than adequately, but it's superb entertainment. But down in New Zealand, we saw 4,000 or 5,000 cars, Formula Ones, and a victory for Britain Michael Lyons and McLaren M26 in the Race of Champions revival again against 20-odd Formula 5000s. Mighty. Ferrari is absolutely stunning. All those louvers in the window just to get the air, the hot air out of the engine bay.
Going past the 911 GT1, which wouldn't have happened very often back in the day, I wouldn't have thought. But it's fantastic with the different sounds. We've got the very sort of flat note of the turbocharged Porsches, and then the scream of the BMW V12s and the McLaren when they're really wound up. Normally aspirated engines do tend to sound better though, Marcus.
I think so.
They have more diversity in sound as well, which is such an underestimated part of motor racing that strip it away and we miss it like crazy.
Here's a pack of them on your screens.
Actually, in defence of turbos, the 5-litre twin-turbo V8 in the Sauber Group C car was just sound phenomenal, so there are some exceptions to that.
Yes, it's funny looking at this group and getting the Lotus in there. Of course, it was there in period. I remember spending time with the team in the Helsinki Street Circuit in 1997. It was just done on a pittance, but it wasn't running like a really serious works effort. It was sort of a lot of Italian money came in, and sponsorship enabled the car to be out there on the circuit.
Not enough money, probably.
Not enough, and development was clearly way behind. But
they put a bandsaw down the middle of the original release and then widened it by about 2 feet, didn't they?
Yes, when you compare that to the budget being spent by Mercedes
on its catering.
Well, exactly, it wasn't even a sandwich bill. Yeah.
And of course Toyota, who developed the GT1, which probably should have won one as well, but they never quite managed it.
Just looking to see whether the left rear tyre on one of those cars was down a little through Madgwick.
Which car are you looking at?
I think it was the white car. I saw it from the back through Madgwick.
White Porsche.
And it looked very, very low on that turbo corner.
The handling of these cars is so good. You just look how unfussed they are. I know they're not driving absolutely flat out around the circuit, but they're going faster than you realise. Just very, very undramatic. Bit of flame spitting out the back. And the back off from the Gulf long-tailed McLaren GT1.
And the engine in that was spectacular, wasn't it?
Oh, beautiful.
Big BMW. You can participate in BMW Ultimate driving experiences here at Goodwood, can you not?
But not in one of those, one feels.
No.
Just checking. Kevin, you're quite right. The very distinctive flat sound of that Porsche turbo.
It just makes you feel like you're at Le Mans every time I hear it. But your comment about them being planted to the road, Bruce, that's both the positive and the negative of downforce, isn't it?
Correct.
Because they make them much quicker, but it doesn't look like it because they're calling on the one line rather than 3 or 4 in any given corner.
Yeah, very harsh ride under the undulations around here as well. They've been very, very limited suspension travel.
Yeah, I bet driving one around Helsinki street circuit must have been quite an ordeal.
And there was the sheer panic. You had a wall about 1 foot either side of wherever your car was, so not many exit points either. Very tricky.
I think it's the first of the white Porsches that's coming past you, Bruce. Left.
Oh, it's just gone past me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. It could be that one that Nick Mason just gone past. It's great that Nick's had that car from you, the red one with the yellow flashes all over it. It's great to see it out on the circuit, but clearly up at 10/10, their car's very, very well indeed, as you'd imagine.
Yeah, you'd expect nothing.
Well, they're out at Renningham, aren't they?
Oh, well, they moved out.
On the old World War I airfield in the Cotswolds these days. 2 or 3 glorious hangars of cars and aircraft.
I saw the checkered flag being waved at the first of those cars, which was Nick Mason in the red McLaren with the GTR logo all over it. There's the Lotus, we talked about it, as you said, Marcus. Yes, rather wider than the original, must be said. The original sort of parked inside it somewhere, isn't it?
Warsteiner beer backing would look rather good in gold, wouldn't it?
Yes.
One of those liveries that worked on most cars.
Yeah, good chance, that head-on shot, to see the development of the Porsche over the years. As it sorted itself, hadn't the formula changed? But they're going to be trickling their way back to the pits now.
There's the 1998 Le Mans winning car. 1-2 for Porsche that year. But it was the last time they won for quite a while, until, of course, the recent hybrid 919 won in 2015. Quite a long wait for Porsche.
Yes, when a market's been as dominant as Porsche, and you just don't think once they get a hiatus that it's going to be a long hiatus, but the history of the sport moves in all sorts of ways according to the rule book.
Yes, Audi had a pretty good stab at it in between, didn't they?
Quite so.